Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. I want happiness. Can you all resonate with this feeling? If you remove want, what remains? I happiness. Want is desire. If you remove I, what remains? Happiness. I is ego. If we remove desire and ego, what remains? Happiness. How unique that we begin our day, not with learning, but with unlearning. Unlearning desire and ego. From verses 28 to 37, Prince Arjuna is using logic to share with Bhagavan Krishna, with Sri Krishna, why they should not engage in their dharma. He's using emotion. Tasmat. So there's a conclusion in verse 37. Now, in verses 38 to 47, there's a change in thinking. Prince Arjuna being emotional didn't work. So Prince Arjuna is now going to use logic. You'll see that his thought flow, his words, this all changes. With that, we continue to verse 38. Yadyapyetena pashyanti lobopahata chetasaha kulakshayakritam dosham mitradrohe cha patakam. Prince Arjuna shifts. Yadyapihi ete na pashyanti. Even those who are around me, that is the Kauravas, even though they don't see. And he's not referring to physical sight here. He's referring to understanding. Even though they don't understand what is wrong about this conflict, about this responsibility. And what this shows about Prince Arjuna, what he's saying makes sense, but he's deflecting. Instead of reflecting on his own responsibilities, he's deflecting this to the Kauravas, that they're not following their responsibilities. And we can all relate to this. Our habit is to deflect rather than to reflect. The next quarter, why can't they see? Why can't they understand? Lobho pahata chetasaha, their minds, chetasaha, upahata, are overwhelmed, overpowered with lobha. Lobha means greed. And here Prince Arjuna is referencing the fact that they're not willing to give any space to live in what is the Pandava kingdom. Making this personal, when we are overwhelmed, when we are overpowered, we engage in wrong thinking, irrespective of what vice is affecting us. Here he's referencing greed, but suppose I'm overwhelmed by worry. Another person is overwhelmed by irritability, another by fear, another by anger. They're all engaged in wrong thinking, correct? For us to engage in right thinking, our minds cannot be in control. Our intellect has to be in control. So he's again projecting greed instead of reflecting on his own confusion and fear. Next quarter, kulakshaya kritam dosham. They do not understand the dosha, which is the wrongness, the sin that will come with kulakshaya kritam, the destruction of families. A sign of wrong thinking is to be a short-term thinker. Prince Arjuna is not understanding and appreciating that destruction of family has already happened, is still happening, and if this responsibility, if this conflict is not engaged in, then this destruction will be even deeper. And to share this with you in a lighter way, if one has a deep cut on their arm, you can put a Band-Aid on your cut, but that's not enough, correct? There has to be stitches or a surgery depending on that depth. Prince Arjuna feels that if we don't engage in this conflict, that this will make families and communities and society healthy. It's only a Band-Aid. It is temporary, short-term. Mitra drohe chapatakam. He goes from the family to the individuality. They don't understand the, again, patakam, which means wrongness or sin, with being cruel. Drohe mitra, cruel to a friend. Prince Arjuna is thinking that Shri Krishna is thinking, why is he being sympathetic? The Kauravas have never shown sympathy to the Pandavas, so why is Prince Arjuna showing sympathy to the Kauravas? And this is why he goes on explaining. Prince Arjuna knows there's a hole in the way he's thinking and speaking, because if there wasn't a hole, Shri Krishna would respond positively. One who is loving, one who knows right thinking, will naturally support and encourage others to be the same way. Yet, Shri Krishna has not made an active statement this entire chapter. And we are on verse 38. He keeps on explaining. He keeps on justifying. You all just got to see Vyasa. You may not have heard the samvada that was going on outside of our door. Sheila kept on telling Vyasa, don't go in, he's teaching, he has a class. And Vyasa was saying, but Amma, I was squeezing the Play-Doh. See how he has to go on explaining to justify his wrong thinking and wrongdoing. More will be shared in the coming verses. As I mentioned, he's trying to use logic now, from emotion to logic, as if he's more objective. Shri Krishna, if you have read Gurudev's commentary, Swami Chinmayananda's, he's used terms like Shri Krishna has a wooden smile, has a sphinx-like smile. In other words, he's just letting Prince Arjuna exhaust himself with emotions, with logic. He is not supporting and encouraging this way of thinking. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to compare complacency and acceptance. And I'm deeply appreciative that many of you took this application seriously. Neha from Chicago was sharing, complacency is short-term thinking, acceptance is long-term thinking. exactly what we highlighted today. See how Prince Arjuna is putting a band-aid on the solution instead of stitches, a surgery. Samir from Los Angeles had shared, complacency is pity, self-pity. And acceptance is self-forgiveness. With self-pity, you don't grow. We loathe in that self-pity. With self-forgiveness, one can evolve. What Chinmay from Toronto shared, complacency is being a perfectionist. And that is a unique thought. A perfectionist is one who doesn't want to try new things. In their comfort zone, they're trying to perfect that, whereas one who is accepting, they keep trying to engage in perpetual betterment, trying new things. These are all indicative, the complacency part of Prince Arjuna's personality right now. And think of the utility. What does Sri Krishna teach him? To be accepting, a long-term thinker, a forgiver, to engage in perpetual betterment. So the reflection is, are you? Are you engaged in accepting yourself? If you are, you'll be more accepting of others. The opposite of acceptance is anger. Anger is deeply pervasive in our personalities, our families, our communities. I don't even have the time to bring up every day how much violence is happening in the world. Atlanta, Boulder. And of course I care about this, but really, I have to identify Syria, Afghanistan, Paris. And this is not me being apathetic. I'm only sharing how the only solution to the violence or anger in the world is when individuals, when seekers, grow into acceptance. Your application for this morning. I want you to think of a person in whom the coronavirus has brought out the worst in them, and another person in whom this challenge has brought out the best in them. So think of all of the people you know and analyze the past year. Who has become the worst? Who has become the best due to the same challenge? Reflect deep on this. And maybe it's you in terms of the best, yes? Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.